we found that Bitcoin ecosystem is totally different. There's no foundation here. Every day I'm thinking about the mass adoption. The only way to achieve mass adoption is built on Bitcoin. A layer 2 should solve the problem of specific layer 1. Bitcoin A1 is slow and expensive. This kind of problem is the main target we are going to solve. Unfortunately, I think most of the projects not solving the real problem. Even they can't discover the right problem. BitVM is the only approach that we can adopt to solve the verification ability on Bitcoin. Bitcoin itself, I think, is not only the static storage of assets. They need to earn yield. And earn yield in a decentralized environment like layer 2s or the restaking protocol like Babylon is a huge driving force for this ecosystem.
All right, here we are for episode 4 of the Stacked podcast. Today we have Kevin with us from Bitlayer. Welcome, Kevin. Thank you so much for joining. How are you today?
Nice to meet you. So great to be here, and thank you for the invitation. I'm doing great.
Nice to see you here, and yeah, welcome on the podcast. I have with me today Mikil as well as a co-host. We're very excited to talk to you about a lot of the things you have been working on with Bitlayer. We've seen your phenomenal growth and traction in the past couple of months, and wanted to dive in a lot further. So, welcome once again, and yeah, would wanted to ask you to start off by giving us a little introduction about yourself and maybe an overview of Bitlayer and its primary mission as you guys have planned.
Yeah, thank you. About myself, I joined industry in 2017. From day one, I'm building L1 and L2. Totally, I actually have launched 4 EVM compatible chains and 2 zk for Ethereum. One is Proof Dex, another is Swap Dex, and one MPC platform for Hong Kong listed company. Part of my role is director, and part of my role is architect. I joined Hobby Group in 2020, late 2020, and launched Hobby Ecosystem Chain. We call it HECO, HECO. We have a very good number, such as we have 4 million transactions a day and 14 billion US dollar. This number, even for now, is a very good number. And I was leading over 300 engineers there. Yeah, this is pretty much about my backgrounds. I'm myself a builder and my user of DeFi. I also like to talk something about a big layer. The mission for Big Layer is so clear. From day one, we want to build a native BTC layer 2. We are going to use and contribute to big VM paradigms and big VM projects to solve two major problems. First, to verify state transition on L1, on Bitcoin L1, which means that we will turn Bitcoin into a settlement layer. And second, based on the verification ability on L1, we can build a trustless bridge. This is the main target, main solution, main problem we want to solve.
How come you guys thought of doing this? Like, I mean, Bitcoin has been around for such a long time, and I mean, it never really got to a stage where people really thought of using Bitcoin as a settlement layer to build smart contracts on top. Now, obviously, BitVM is kind of growing in terms of popularity and in like adoption. What kind of sparked the idea really for Bitlayer? Yeah, what's kind of the eureka moment for you guys?
This project can dates back from last year Q3, when I was helping ABCD Capital, which is the leading crypto capital in VC in Asia, and I'm helping them to do the IC meeting and the technical DD meeting. And most of the project we can heard in the market, including Merlin Chain, B2, and Bison, all these kind of projects. And actually, they have pitched me, and I know the team, the solution, how they works, what kind of what kind of problem they're going to solve, and this is the very start. And unfortunately, I think most of the projects are not solving the real problem. Not even though even they can't discover the right problems. And for us, we think that a BTC layer two, we think that sidechain is a good start. Multi-sig is a good start, but it can't be the end game. It shouldn't be the end game. So we won't start this project officially um, before we find the right solution, BitVM. And only after the BitVM's idea of a proposal, we think that, oh, we can do something new, we can make something new, so fix something new, and then we start these projects. And because BitVM is the only approach that we can adopt to solve the verification ability on Bitcoin. So this is the journey start.
Nice, nice. So BitVM actually plays a very big role, as I understand. So, what would you say is kind of the current status of BitVM? Like, from what I understand, it's still quite early in the adoption. Like, it's not really mainnet ready. I don't think you guys are using it yet on mainnet either. Um, so yeah, what do you think? Like, where do we stand with BitVM, and like, is this scalable? And what's the time frame you think to make BitVM like really scalable?
Yeah. There are several things I like to clarify about BitVM and about Bitlayer. Actually, we separate our about Bitlayer. We separate our mainnet into several versions. The first version we call it Bitlayer POS. So it's a proof of stake blockchain, and of course a multisig. This is the V1. We want to adopt onboard users and developers. And second version and third version will mainly focus on the L1 verification and the bridge problems. This is about the roadmap for Bitlayer. And about Big VM, yeah, of course, it's really new projects, and it is white paper is proposed last year October, and but the community moved very fast in several ways. First, they actually iterate from Big VM one. Now people are focused on Big VM two now, and the family is also growing. We are the big layer is the first one want to use big VM and use big VM to solve the to build a layer two. In last year October, right after the proposal of big VM. But now we are happy to see that we actually have more than six members, or around eight members, or the projects are working on big VM scheme. So it's getting a bigger and bigger family. And thirdly, about VM progress and the relationship between the big VM and the big layer. And actually, the relationship between us is something like the PSE projects of Ethereum Foundation and the Scroll team. We just have different target, and have different missions. And so big layer just want to use big VM approach to solve a specific problem we mentioned. And actually we can say that we are building parallel version of big VM implementation. We are not. We of course we contributed to big VM, but we don't need to wait for the projects, the official projects. Yeah, there is a different version here.
Actually, maybe I'll jump in here. Very interesting conversation for me. I'm just going through your technical white paper, and I see a lot of technical stuff here. Definitely, the Bitlayer roll-up circuit was a
Yeah.
diagram that you have on your sixth page, which I think is very interesting. Can you talk a little bit about? So you've talked about what the end state should look like, right? Maybe you've talked about what the starting state should be and what the end state should not be, which is the way we have things today. So one is understanding where Bitlayer is today. Like, what is the tech that Bitlayer uses today? Because based on what I understand, obviously BitVM is still, like you said, is still far away to get to a point where it can be implemented. And before BitVM goes live, let's say BitVM cannot work. As Let's imagine a world where BitVM does not work. What does it mean for Bitlayer? What happens to the end state for Bitlayer that you have envisioned?
Cool. Um, about the pro. Actually, I've mentioned before. We don't wait. We The only thing we use FigVM is the idea. We're not using that code actually. So we are building a different version of that. This is the first one. And second, we can see that the Startware team actually announced last night from Singapore time. Last night, they are going to make Startnet into a BTC Bitcoin layer 2. And their proposal is based on OPCAT. Yeah, their proposal is based on OPCAT. And also, they are following the Big VM approach. This is to demonstrate people are actually not limited or not waiting for Big VM official projects to have the verification ability. And second thing is that Big VM actually it is there's some misunderstanding here in its name. It is not a typical VM we supposed it is. It is just a commitment and challenging component, like big prover or big verifier can be a proper name. And this is admitted by the by Roby Linus, the author and the creator of Big VM. They think he admitted that there is some misunderstanding in the name in the Big VM name, and Big Prover can be a proper name. So the user and developer actually facing their familiar environments like the EVM or SVM or Cairo VM, and uh, if we talk about the rollup model we adopt, and there will be some to regenerate batches of the blocks, and there will be a state diff sent to the DACs, and there were components we call it prover and the verifier. The prover will construct the commitment and send it to the Bitcoin L1 as a normal transaction, and with several UTXO, and also he need to deposit some BTC uh, uh, to deposit some BTC, and this is the commitment process. And then there will be a decentralized component called verifier. The verifier can retrieve information from DAC, and also will retrieve information from Bitcoin L1 and make computation to verify if there is a flaw on the commitment that the approver have made. If there is some flaw, they will initiate the challenging game to challenge the approver's result. If he can win the process, they can take the deposit of the approver. So this is the how the whole process works.
Okay, that makes sense. And what's like how would you say you look at data availability for Bitlayer? Is the data available on the Bitcoin L1?
For us, there are actually several choices. Using Bitcoin L1 and using the inscription way to put DA information, and second, use the third party DA like NewBit or even the Avails or Celestia can work. And third choice will be the DAC. We set up the publish the data by ourselves. um, we think that putting information or putting DA information on Bitcoin won't change the security level. So and also it will waste a lot of money and lots of gas. So using the third party DA infrastructure and the self host DAC will be our better choice.
Question from my end, Kevin. So, I mean, I guess a lot of these things are nowadays already in a way available on whether it's like on Ethereum or Solana. It's relatively easy to build applications, build an ecosystem. Um, and I mean, in a way, Bitcoin is not as easy to scale on and to build upon. Like, what is your motivation to now and make this huge leap when it comes to like technology to build for Bitcoin? You know, like, why not build for Ethereum? Like, what's your personal motivation to build for Bitcoin? I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, I like this question, and if you we can see it. Actually, there were several reasons for us to build on Bitcoin. Firstly, the Bitcoin ecosystem have is emerging and actually is really already go through its several steps, including the asset protocol like BRC20 and runes, something like that. Or people are admitted that Bitcoin can issue assets. It's a good platform to issue asset on Bitcoin. And second, there actually have some mind shift about Bitcoin itself. The After the institution entering the institutions in entering the ETF markets, and Bitcoin itself, I think, is not only the static storage of assets. They need to earn yield. So there's a driving force for the Bitcoin holders, for the ETF holders, and they have to earn yield for their clients, and earn yield in a decentralized environments like layer twos or the restaking protocol like Babylon is a huge driving force for this ecosystem. And thirdly, we think that after a series of halving, the block price will drop dramatically from year to year. And according to simple math, the only way to sustain the uh, the Bitcoin ecosystem will be the transaction fees. So the BTC Layer 2 can generate a lot of transactions and help to protect how to subsidize the miners and how to protect the whole Bitcoin ecosystem and even the crypto ecosystem. This is some there's some driving force in the technical way or in the economical way. And also there are some reasons that we found that Bitcoin ecosystem is totally different. There's no foundation here. Nobody told us what is right and what's wrong. And then we don't need to persuade somebody or facing somebody to build something, targeting some key person. We don't need that. This is a free space for us, and also there's a huge asymmetric market opportunity here. And thirdly, and final, we think that Bitcoin can, when you build on Bitcoin, we always right, because Bitcoin have the best popularity. And about me, because I actually have launched several blockchains, and every day I'm thinking about the mass adoption. And only I think the only way to achieve mass adoption is built on Bitcoin, because its popularity, it's well known, it's really well known in the world. People like it. Yeah, so this is several reasons we choose to build on Bitcoin.
Maybe to jump in and share a differing view, because Kevin, you mentioned like B- BTC L2s, again with every halving, obviously miners suffer the most, right? Uh, unless Bitcoin price really goes to a level where it can subsidize
Yeah.
the the reduction in revenue for miners. I think, yeah, it's a valid argument that BTC additives could help subsidize these miners. But do you really think that's going to happen? Because again, like for that to really happen, let's say, what volumes would BTC L2s need to handle on a daily basis for it to make any substantial impact to the miners? Because unless, first of all, BTC L2s are expected to be low transaction fees. Obviously, when they settle transactions onto the Bitcoin layer, when the transaction fees are still high. So I think one is, it's not going to be cheap for BTC L2s to settle on BTC L1. That's going to be expensive. But how much volumes are we talking about when we say it could end up subsidizing for miners' cost? Because it needs to be really big. Bitcoin is $1 trillion asset today. Miners won't make money on just a few BTC L2s providing some volume. So just curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, actually, we can observe when a few last month, when we see the launch of Ruin protocol last month. The transaction fees paid to the miners, even if I'm not making wrong conclusion, even bigger than the block price. Yeah, so and it's a very strong, it can be a huge number on when a lot of BTC layer 2 submitting the proof, or submitting the commitments to Bitcoin L1. And also there will be helping the Bitcoin ecosystem assets like the BRC20 and the ruins. We also help to subsidize the whole the miners, the transferring the inscription thing, and the transferring, and all these things will make up together to subsidize, to generate a lot of transaction on-chain transactions and pay the transaction fees to the miners. And finally, and actually, these things is have been preceded by the some emails of Nakamoto Satoshi. And he told that he wrote in some article or some emails that eventually the transaction fee will be the only way to subsidize, or to pay to the to miners. This is the already foresee that.
Okay, I think you're right that runes obviously saw a large increase in volumes. But again, how sustainable is it? But yeah, you're right. When you look at runes, you can look at the future and be like, okay, there is a path to you know uh, enough volumes, enough transactions in the Bitcoin network through not users but through BTC L2s. Because I think Bitcoin users are probably not going to end up using L1, right? We Lightning Network was supposed to be the L2 that solves a lot of problems for Bitcoin users. But so your thesis is that BTC L2s will be submitting proofs and committing onto the Bitcoin L1, and that settlement itself will be so much in volume that it's going to create a increase in revenue for miners and subsidize for the halving costs. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good argument. I think it's definitely an interesting one. Maybe like again, I've been reading up on the white paper as well, and I see this layered virtual machine concept, and very curious to understand what layered virtual machines are and what you're building with LVMs.
The At the very early days, we think that EVM is shouldn't be the only choice for the users, and we actually to supporting different VMs actually is the from the day one we have this kind of idea, and this also this is the expertise of our team because the some of our core members in they are working for Alibaba Group and working on the Unchained in China. They set up they have support multiple VMs, including SVMs and Wasm and other VMs to satisfy the clients. So we have this kind of technology, and also I think if an ecosystem want to go through several cycles from bear to bull and then to another cycles. The only one way is to build its own ecosystem. This is and specifically it is to build its own VMs. So eventually, we will build our own VM and to propose a better programming model for the users, and not even. I don't think. I think the new language is not the in it's not the inevitable component, but the new programming model is very important. Like the Move VM, they just they actually they're adopting the Rust language, and also but the most important they proposed the proposed idea to the resources, the bring the idea from Rust programming language and to protect resources and to emphasize the resources of in the in the programming models. So the new programming model is very important, and when we going to build new VMs, a new ecosystem, and supporting multiple VMs in one solution or one execution environment is the middle way we develop our own our next our next own VM. And about the layer VM we mentioned in the white paper, um, we just name it because we that our name is called Bitlayer, so we named it layer VM, and the idea is to make a unified execution environment and the unified unified approving and committing system, committing challenging system that to run in big on backend. The user and developer can will have the different VM they can choose, but in the backend, there are actually one total solution to generating the proof, to submitting to the proof to the transact to the to Bitcoin L1. It is the layer VM. Actually, we want to unify the whole process. This is why we call it. And we will have more information or more material, more article about it, and in the next in the next phase.
To me it sounds like you're very focused on like bringing a good developer experience and user experience at the same time. um, I also saw that you guys recently launched like a pretty big like developer fund or like some sort of a incentives program for developers. Um, Obviously, with what Mikkel said earlier, and like the fact that we'll definitely need a lot of transactions and a lot of volume on these L2s, and especially like Bitlayer, to make this all like a viable way. What type of innovations are you actually hoping to come out of this like this huge developer incentives program? What are the applications you want to see built? What are the applications that you think will actually spark that growth in usage?
Cool. I like this question, and I like to talk more about the rationale we think that was we when we operate um, ecosystem or layer two. We the team of Bitlayer have a series of success experience of working on several ecosystem, including Heckle, Polygons, um, and also the team behind Bitlayer is the talents from most of a lot of team members are from hobby group previous before, so we know how we have a rich experience of building ecosystem. This is the first point, and second, um, from day one, we think that the developer is the most important info components or the members of the ecosystem. So our according to our tokenomics, 50% of our tokens will go to the developers, go to the projects, and we think that two metrics is really important. First is the TVL, how much TVL they brought to the ecosystem, and second is the transaction, and that is how many transactions they generate to the ecosystem. Because we think this is because we think that the layer two is a very simple business. We want to the profit of a Bitcoin of a layer two equals the transaction fee will collect and subtract the security fee we pay to Bitcoin. The business model is really simple. So we need as more as possible the of the as more transaction as possible. The transaction fees is the key revenue for us, and so this is why we deployed we launched the ecosystem the dev fund 15 mil dev fund for the developers. Actually, we will launch several series of rounds of it. And when I'm talking about innovations in big layer, first we think that a layer two should solve the problem of specific layer one, because so we can see big layer one Bitcoin A1 is slow and expensive and without programming ability. So this kind of problem is the main target we are going to solve. And when we're facing the user demand, we should focus on the demand or the requirements from the holders of Bitcoin, for holders of Bitcoin ecosystem assets like the Ruins and BRC20. And there will be a very native motivation for these holders to earn yield, to swap, to have perp decks, to trading. on in a decentralized environment. This is this so the I think the first kind of transact of applications we want to encourage is to satisfy the holders of Bitcoin ecosystem assets. And when talking to specific innovation, and each cycle, people always believe they want to chase the new narrative, the new story. So in this cycle, people think the staking and restaking applications will be much more sexy. And so we are cooperating with some key partners like the Lorenzo protocols, and another Lorenzo is a restaking protocol and is the key partner of our of Bitlayer, and also key partner of Babylon. And another project is called Lombard. It is incubated by Polychain team. It is another, you can see the Lido version, BTC version of Lido, and it will be a huge project in the ecosystem. And they are all our key partners. We supporting liquidity, and we supporting other and a lot of other things to make them the flag application in big layer.
Absolutely, and I guess that's almost a good note to end. Like, look, if I sum this up, I think you're very bullish on people and other projects building on top of Bitlayer. Very bullish on, in a way, BTC Fi or DeFi on Bitcoin to kind of grow exponentially from here. I think we've seen DeFi summer on Ethereum in the previous run. I do strongly believe actually the DeFi ecosystem on BTC is just in its very startup phase, and I'm very excited to see what comes out of that. And I'm excited to see programs like this on Bitlayer to really support that growth and adoption of BTC Fi. So yeah, thank you so much, Kevin, for all of that. Before we round up, is there anything else you want to talk about? Any other points that you would like to kind of bring up? Any new announcements? Any alpha that you want to share with the viewers?
Yeah, I do. We do have a lot of good news to share, and in the investing in the fundraising part, we actually raising this Series A round. We very glad to have Franklin Templeton and join us, and as the co-lead or lead investors. And second, we have Domo, the BRC20 creators supporting us as the angel check as the angel. And and second, about the V1 traction, we actually made a lot of traction here, and we launched several programs and several campaigns. One is the core Ready Player. It is there we have over 1,000 application applied for the leaderboard, and also we have over 300 legit solid projects registered here and waiting for queuing to waiting for to deploy on mainnet. And we have around 70 project already deployed on big layer. And this is a projects. And also we actually have very strong liquidity support from the whole community. We have achieved around over 200 US dollar TVLs, which we can be viewed in DeFi Llama. And this is a booming ecosystem for BTC Layer 2. And we also can see Startware, which is our key partner, announced that they will enter this space. We think that's a good thing to make the pie or make the ecosystem much bigger. And we also we work very closely to build some innovative solution to help the whole ecosystem. About and yeah about the progress in V2. Hopefully we will get the first native BTC layer 2 testnet in the coming 2 months. It will be the first one that achieve Bitcoin finality. And also, um, I think the big VM scheme and the verification ability on Bitcoin will benefit the whole ecosystem, including including the marine chain and other and botanics and other projects. We like to work together with all the teams to push the technology forward. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. So I guess a lot of action, a lot of traction, evolving tech. What else? A fund Series A fundraise. Yeah, continuous development, a huge community. Yeah, I guess a lot of bullish signs in my opinion, and yeah, I'm very excited to see what's up next with Bitlayer. We'll follow it closely. For anyone who hasn't done so, I would also suggest to check out their website and their socials and see how to participate in the ongoing campaigns and activities that are there. Thank you so much again, Kevin, for joining. Really appreciate you sharing your time and your insights. And thanks, Mikil, for co-hosting this fourth episode of Stacked. Glad you guys were with us, and we see you in the next episode. Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
the invitation. Thank you. Bye bye.